News Radio 710 Keel is your news and weather station.
News Radio 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty, and rapidly going back into our chat with former Mayor Cedric Glover. So let me sum up. The GM plant is empty. It is currently represented by the Racer Trust, which is basically a fellow named Stewart.
No, the Racer Trust was set up by the U.S. Bankruptcy Court to facilitate the reuse and repurposing of abandoned GM
and
sites.
And that is, for all intents and purposes, the Richter fellow.
No. That's the federal government.
Okay.
All right. U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, that was responsible for setting up the Racer Trust and everything else. They were responsible for going out and working with local communities to figure out how is it that we make these old GM plants a source of jobs and opportunity in the communities where they were.
Okay. Was there, to your knowledge, when the possibility that Land Rover could move into the GM plant, was there, to the best of your knowledge, an offer on the table to buy the building for $150 million or more because Land Rover wanted their own facility? What did they offer? How many jobs would it have been, and why did that offer get turned down?
The need was to acquire and secure the facility. And the folks from Land Rover, just like the people from GM, probably wanted to own the plant and not lease it. What you have here is Stuart Lichter and IRG as a factor in this, trying to maximize their return. One, if you go back to the very beginning, you would ask yourself, well, why do you need this guy in the first place, except for the fact that the Racer Trust, and he showed up with Paul Elio and said, here's what we're going to look to try and use for this facility. So if you've got that just simply as an empty factory that's owned by the citizens of Louisiana, and you've got someone like Land Rover that wants to make use of it, then part of what you can use as a way of incentivizing why it is that they should look to come to Shreveport is by leveraging the asset that represents the plant. And so, yes.
So selling the plant for $150 million or whatever the offer might have been would not have benefited Lichter and his people?
Not to the extent, apparently, that they thought that
Which is, in your opinion, why the deal didn't get done?
I think that rather than come up with a deal that would have ended up being workable for Land Rover and extremely profitable for Lichter and IRG, they sought another course and requested terms that the folks from Land Rover were not willing to accept. And that deal was at that point lost.
3 minutes, and that other option is?
Will we ever see an Elio car roll off the lines out there, or is that a pipe dream?
Well, understand where this whole thing started. Elio came to town and initially wanted the parish of Caddo to invest in the company. They are still out trying to raise $200 million that they need in order to be able to go forward. They have before the U.S. Department of Energy an application for a $200 million loan from our tax dollars. I don't think that that's more than likely going to happen because I don't think that the federal government, this administration, is in that business, at least at this point. So I think that the idea of there ever being anything other than models, prototypes, is extremely remote. And that's also what is complicating about this situation, and also part of what warrants, I think, the kind of review and oversight that's needed, because in the pursuit of this Elio thing, you have seen 4,000 plus jobs that would have come from the Dakin Corporation that got scuttled, well-known, established company, and then follow that up with the Land Rover deal, which is the best one to my knowledge, because it would have ended up being something that iconic.
Less than 2 minutes. Why did Lichter and his folks put all their eggs in the Elio basket? What's the spiff for them?
From my perspective, of course, this is just me. I think that the Elio is what gave them the basis to be able to come in and actually acquire control of the building. You've got to come in with something that represents a carrot to the local community that says, I've got a company, I've got an entity that's going to come in with jobs and opportunity. You go ahead, we'll make them the first one, give me the lease, and we'll go out and work hard to find other folks to come in as well.
Former Mayor Cedric Glover, what's next for you? You going to run for office again? What you doing?
I'm going to do what my wife tells me.
But staying in town. No plans to move?
Well, now, there have been some folks who've talked about the possibility of opportunity that might take me away from here. But obviously, as you can tell by the fact that I'm here with you guys, that I am extremely vested in my hometown.
Is your future goal to work full or part-time?
We're trying.
My goal is to do what my wife tells me.
Oh, he's good. Sounds like a politician, doesn't he?
Sounds like a man who's not going to be wearing carpenter pants anytime soon. If you heard that segment.
I got a purse made out of carpenter pants that I made for my wife.
Oh, good. Good plan.
Where she hangs her hammer. Mr. Mayor, dare I say, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you guys for finally stopping, and because there are those of us who've been wondering at what point this actual story was going to surface and become a part of the much-needed dialogue that needs to be taking place
and
right now.
it is just starting, I think, as we talked about off the air. Aaron's on vacation in a couple of weeks. I am corralling co-hosts, and
y'all's bromance is back on.
I may have found another one. Robert J. Wright, Aaron McCarty, thank you once again, by the way.